Hi everyone, it's Adrienne. This video is the first video of my fairy series on this channel. I have done a generalized fairy video on my other channel. This is similar to it. In fact, I probably say some of the same things because I'm relaying general information about the fairies. So that's lost in a couple hundred videos from my monthly readings. So I thought I would start this here. I may not mention everything, well, because I'm making other videos for this, so I don't know where I was going with that, but I hope that I don't forget anything that I plan on saying because I kind of rehearsed it in my head before. So, the fairy realm is directly next to our realm, and there are different classifications of fairies, different types of fairies, different kingdoms, similar to our realm. So the fairies can be seen in different ways. They can be seen as the box standard fairies that you would normally see in a children's book, or you even may see them as more of a balanced type of race or races that are um, similar to us too, because we do have different types of people, and with them, again, as I said, different types of fairies. They can be considered elementals and helping out with the fire, water, earth, and air are the standard ones that you do hear about, and that's why there are a lot of elementals that are shown in different areas like books or tarot decks or oracle decks. So we have the salamanders of fire, the snipes of air, the undimes of water, and the gnomes of earth. They can be considered, I would have to say, a dying race, because some legends may say, or they could be true, I don't like saying legends, that they used to be giants or greater gods and goddesses, but people stopped worshiping them and they started getting smaller, and some of them to be non-existent because it's not that common to see different types of fairies. Well, it is common to see different types of fairies, but some of them may have died down so much that it almost appears or they are non-existent. So this could also be because that humans can be greedy, and they did lose, I would have to say, respect for us, and they have trust issues with us, so you had to gain a fairy's trust when working with them, or with, I would say, first becoming friends with them and growing a relationship and not just going to them because you need something. So what was I going to say about that? They were tricked by humans. It could have been that, and for that reason, they may have lost some things or lost their powers or whatever we did to them. We probably did add to them being what they are now. So I feel like they are becoming more known in our world. There are portals, and there are ways for them to get here and for us to get to their realm too. But I would suggest getting a counterpart when working with the fairies and going into the fairy realm. And I may get into that in another video because there are different types of ways that you can do that and different types of counterparts that you can get too. So I have, I won't go into detail with this. I have a fox that was given to me by the Morgan. She is the queen of the Fae. So I do work with her every day and with the fairies every day. So, as I said, different classifications of fairies, and there's also different places where they are and different kingdoms. So I know that you can find the gnome kingdom, and there are fairies of the sea, which would be generally the mermaids and mermen, and the fairies that you have on land. No, those are like specific types of magic. I actually just did specifically a leprechaun spell, and it was cool because it was the final spell for transitioning with my jobs, and I thought that was awesome because it does require a lot of trust and luck. And I was kind of, not gonna lie, I was like looking at the herbs that I was being told to put in, and some of them were saying like anti-theft and protection and making sure that, you know, there is a bond, and there are regulations, and to make sure that they're not going to basically, in the kindest terms, mess with you in some way, or try to take something from you, or like having read between the lines of the spell. So I am really happy that that was the last spell, because that was actually pretty relevant to what I was trying to accomplish, because as I said, I do want to end up in Ireland someday, and that this big move is going to lead me up to Ireland, because it feels like it's going to be one of the last steps. So the area that I'm going to be going to is right off of the Atlantic Ocean. That will be where my condo is, and it's very close. So the leprechauns will kind of be like finding the hidden treasures of what you're trying to obtain or accomplish, and that's what they're known for. They're finders, and they're seekers. They can also be tricksters, as with a lot of fairies. They do like to play around. Some of them may not be as nice as others, might not be really not nice compared to others. So I'll do other videos for that too. They they like certain things just like us, and they dislike certain things. So they like sweet things. They like when you make stuff for them, and especially if it's sweet, you can give them different types of offerings. Like if you want to give them honey, you want to give them something that's as natural as you can get it, or even you can give them water. Make sure that you have a good environment for them if you are going to work with them, because they do tend to take up a lot of space. And again, they are more of a, I guess comparing it to me too, because of me being a fairy too, being more of a jealous type of race, because they were kind of one up again with them being past gods and goddesses or giants, and then people started worshiping other things. I forgot to mention that. And then they got littler. So they do take up a good amount of space, and to make sure that they're satisfied, make sure that you feel like they have everything that they need. I'm sorry, my cat is trying to get somewhere. Sorry about that. So again, with them needing their own space, I would suggest maybe having something outside too, and not too close to where you would normally, well, wherever you feel like is right, because I actually have multiple spaces for the fairies and the different types of fairies. By the way, back to leprechauns. Leprechauns do live underground too, generally. And that was my first encounter, and that was actually my first fairy encounter when I was little, and I would go to my godmother's house. My brother and I would say sorry to the grass. He didn't know why. I kept getting in my head, leprechauns. There are leprechauns underneath me, so I kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So that my godmother's was definitely a hot spot for that, and I keep remembering and thinking it's so funny, because years later I kept wondering, why do I keep having this experience? And then I realized that that's where they live. They can also indicate tapping, like if they're having their presence known. I'm not getting the name of what it's called, but it's like if you hear this with their shoes. And another way that they showed themselves to me was when I was babysitting somebody actually, and they showed up as very large. They weren't flies. They had a type of physique to them, and you can definitely tell that they're a lot bigger than flies. And then they do have a different way of moving. Like the wings were fast, but they weren't as fast, and they were a lot bigger, and they were just like zooming, and they were very black, like charcoal black. And I was watching Miss Quiet Queen because she also said that she had that experience, or she had that experience too, and she said that it's because we aren't pure, so that's why they appear like that. And funny thing is, both the dog that they had and the son, he was born on my half birthday. So, and he had Asperger's, I believe. So there was quite a connection with that, and there was more of like a connection with him, and that's why I felt like was first I first started looking at the fairies like that. Because I feel like his disease or his mental state did have something to do with it too, or it added on. I think I'll explain that in another video because I'm not really explaining it correctly. So I've also had them waking me up with giggling, and it wasn't like, I guess, in a scary movie where it's kind of a creepy giggle. It was a very pleasant, high-pitched giggle. And I may go into like different visions that I have of me when I was and am a fairy, because I do have a lot of recollections of it. So that will be a separate video of its own. And I think I'll leave it at, with a couple of dislikes. They don't like cast iron because it's a magic dispeller, generally, and they don't like crossing rivers. So, also, the last thing is that they are very family oriented, kind of unlike our realm, because it seems like things are getting worse and worse with that. They don't believe in saying thank you, because it almost seems like an obligation that you should do something, and I completely agree with this. This is why I have a hard time saying thank you too, because I don't believe that I have to. And some people are just like think that I'm rude for that, but I mean, I say thank you when I feel like I should. But if you're going to do something, don't expect something in return, which would be the thank you or recognition for it. You should do it in the kindness of your heart. And fairies like to do nice things. They like to help, especially if they feel like they're really close, like family. So I think that's it for now. They can be tricksters. I think I already touched up on that. So that's why another reason why when I was doing the leprechaun spell, that I was getting a lot of anti-theft and protection, and making sure that there are set rules and guidelines before summoning them. And it's funny how the leprechauns and the gnomes like to stay in the kitchen, so that's where the spell is. They like their own space. The fairies have their own spaces, and so does the Morgan. She has multiple altars, but then again, she has different aspects too. Give me 1 second to make sure that like a quick run through of my head to make sure that I've said everything that will be okay for this video for now. I would say that if you're working with the fairies, really treat them like family. Treat them with respect, with everything, with any other thing or deity or even person that you talk to or encounter. That's something that's really important. And another story that I'm going to touch up on in another video is them leading me to my stang. And that's the first time the day after I woke up, I was woken up by giggling, and I had a vision. I had two visions when I was about to wake up. I had a vision of, technically I would consider her a reincarnation of my great aunt. She's not living right now, but we are very, very much alike. And I've had different psychics and my psychic friends talk about her a lot because they're just like, she follows you everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, because we're one of the same, and I feel like we are the same. So I had a vision of her in a cloak. At first, well, maybe for another video, but I'm just gonna say, when I first saw her, I thought that it was me, but it was in a different setting that wasn't familiar, and that looked like she was from the country that I'm partly from. So it was mainly the facial features right here, that the chisel and more of a longer face, and the nose is a little curved. We looked very much alike, and when she came to me, sometimes she comes to me like to just watch over me too, but then again, different things watch over me, and that I call on, and then different spirit teams and stuff. She was in a cloak, very pale, dark setting, dark blue setting, looked like she was in darkness, but she revealed herself because she doesn't really like revealing herself in different ways, and I'll probably do a separate video on that. And also the Morgan came. If you guys don't know what a stang is, it's the V thing that looked like antlers, and it's, well, I wrapped it because I put it in a place that I wasn't supposed to. So in between was the realm, and in between was the Morgan. It was a black figure, so that's how a lot of goddesses and deities can reveal themselves in the Morgan. And there were two trees, or the forest, so it was leading me in, and I did find the stang in the forest, and I was led by a rabbit. The rabbit kept stopping to see if I was following it, and then once I got to the location, it disappeared, and like it just like dove in something, and I was like looking through wondering what happened because it just went somewhere else. So I did feel a presence when I found the stang, and also it would be like a portal of going past like going into different worlds, specifically the fairy realm with that. So that was my video. I keep saying I'll do separate videos for stuff because I'm not really getting into a lot of detail, or I'm trying not to get into a lot of detail with some things because it'll take a long time. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.